Hi everyone, it's Melissa. Welcome to Breathe Online, the 6-week course for learning skills and tools to manage anxiety and depression in a different, new way. So you might be wondering, what am I doing here? I'm doing things a little differently this time. If you like the Facebook page, if you get the newsletter, I think this is going to work. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you'll have access to some of these videos. So every week I do a video that introduces some concepts to help you manage your anxiety and depression. And I will divide it into 2 parts. So the general public gets part 1. And then if you are signed up for the group, if you are in the secret Facebook group, you have paid your money and you are signed up, you get part 2 also. So, and then some weeks, you will be the only ones who will get concepts and videos. And then, of course, there'll be the conversations that we have in the Facebook group and you emailing me and calling me or whatever you need. So this is our first week, and the first week is always called Let's Get Clear. So I come to you teaching this not as a therapist or a doctor, a psychiatrist, or even a licensed social worker. I come to you teaching this as someone who has taught yoga for almost 20 years, and someone who has struggled with anxiety and depression almost my whole life. I come from a violent home, some PTSD around some of that stuff, anxiety and depression as long as I can remember. The first time I did some self-harming, I was 6, and it was the 70s, so it was just sort of like, kind of shoved under the rug. No one really paid attention. So I understand the struggles, and I have found that I learned most in my life by learning from people who understand what I'm going through, and also learning through figuring out what works for me, and not necessarily in following a set of rules or following a set of guidelines. And that's what I love about this course. I developed BreatheOnline. It is a mixture of yoga poses, mindfulness tools, DBT skills, which is dialectical behavior therapy. We're going to talk a lot about DBT, nutrition, guidelines, and encouragements. And we're going to put it all together in the last week and the last week is called Putting It All Together. And we're going to create a list of how to manage on a daily basis, and then a list of how to manage when the emotions get really big, when the anger gets huge, when the panic attacks are coming, or the panic attack is coming, when the moods are swinging, when all that big stuff is happening. There are going to be a list of things that you can do in that moment that can take it down a notch and make you be able to manage your life instead of anxiety or depression managing your life for you. Sorry, I have my notes here because I can ramble and get off topic, as a lot of you already know. So I want to talk about what this next 6 weeks look like and what you're going to need. So on a Sunday, I will put together a video or an email, but probably a video because I'm really enjoying that. It's a skill that I need to learn and get better. And you will get that to kind of process and think about and do whatever work around it you need to do. Sometimes I'll ask you to journal. Sometimes it's just an open option for you. It's always an option to journal. And then on Mondays, I'll put something on the Facebook page that'll ask you, what are you choosing to focus on around this concept? On Wednesdays, we'll talk about our progress. How's the week going so far? On Fridays, we'll talk about the win. What are the wins this week? And this first week, it's going to be directly related to what we're talking about, most likely. If it's not, that's okay too. Your win could be, hey, you know what? I slept 4 days really well this week. And that's a big win for me. And that doesn't have to do with anything about getting clear, but it's a win, and that's a good thing. So you get to share that. And then we start over on Sunday with a new concept. So for today, we're talking about Let's Get Clear, and that is journaling. So we're going to journal. We are going to, I have really few rules about journaling. One rule is that you need to have a notebook to do it. There is a process in our brain that happens when we put pen to paper that is really different than when you are typing on the computer. So we want to put pen to paper. We want that brain process to happen. So you need paper. My rule is you need something bound that pages cannot fall out. It doesn't look like this, so that it gets thrown around and pages fall out and coffee gets spilled on them and you lose them and whatever. So bound book. It can be absolutely anything that makes you happy. This is I think $2, $1.75 from IKEA. I use it as the front part of it is my journal. The back part, what do? I turn it upside down. And the back part is the list of things that sort of keep my life going. Like, don't forget Sunday to do Let's Get Clear video. And the ideas that I have as I'm walking through my life. I like to do it that way because I carry a lot of stuff with me throughout my days. So it's a nice way for me to keep my bag light, not have body pain. I did just watch a video of this business coach that I really like. Her name on Instagram is Happy Black Woman. And she just showed her hotel room. She's all about traveling and being able to run your business on the road. And she showed her hotel room and how she lives her life when she's on the road. And she has 3 journals. And I was like, you can do that? You can have 3 journals? And I probably can't because, like I said, I'm on the run a lot in a very different way. I'm not carrying suitcases. I'm carrying my bag on my back and it's heavy. So, so rules about journaling. So when you do get ready to put pen to paper, my rule is you write. You do not scratch out. You do not white out. You do not rip out. You just write. It stays there. It may be uncomfortable, and that's okay. That's a good thing. Being uncomfortable is where the healing and the growth happens. And our whole purpose for this next 6 weeks is to step out of our comfort zone, to do things that are uncomfortable. I just was watching a video Tara Gentili does. She's a business coach and she does Creative Live videos. And if you haven't been over to Creative Live, they're awesome. It's not just business stuff. There's like taking photography classes online. There's all kinds of different stuff. And she didn't write this. She shared this quote, and I don't know who the quote's by, but she shared this, and I thought it was so apropos for managing anxiety and depression. And it's about goal setting in business. And it says, effective goal setting requires that you forget what you don't know how to do. And I thought, yes, that is how you manage anxiety and depression. Because if you do everything you've always learned to do, or always done before, or always known how to do, then you don't need this class. You're doing fine. If you do that and you're struggling, obviously we need to do something different. You need to forget what you know how to do. So what that also means is to really, reach for those big goals, to reach for those things. You're not going to know how to do everything. Like I have some business goals which require that I'm going to need to learn some new technology. I'm going to need to learn how to be more productive. I don't have to worry that I don't know that. I just have to want to get there. And then I can put together the action plan to get myself there. But if all I do is set goals based on what I know, that's not very exciting. That's not very inspiring. That's not very fun. So we're going to think about what's showing up in your life right now and also where you want to go. And you want to forget what you think is possible and what you think is not possible. Just where do you really want to go? I have a client who has depression and sometimes I use the H word with him. And I'll talk about being happy, and he'll say, and he never misses a beat. He's like, happiness is not in the realm of my possibilities. And he can't even wrap his head around wanting happiness. So how is he ever going to get there, right? So I work on that a lot with him. I'm trying to streamline this. I've done a couple takes, and one was like 40 minutes. And I know that we're all busy people. So I want to give you a taste of Breathe Online. I want the people who are signed up to go ahead and get started tonight, but I don't want to take up 40 minutes of your time. So what's the other thing? So the other thing, my other rule about journaling is you just write. It does not have to make sense to you. You don't have to understand why you're writing this right now. But most of us, when we start writing, it can sometimes flow really easily. What we do is we listen to that critic that's on that tape loop playing in the back of our head. And that critic can be really nasty. That critic can say, who the fuck do you think you are? How dare you? How dare you try to change your life? How dare you try to make things better? How dare you think you are capable of big, good things? That critic is full of bashing us and making us feel very, very little. So we want to quiet that critic, and that happens through something called building mastery. It happens, we're going to do it a lot in this next 6 weeks, but doing something that you're not comfortable doing it and getting through it, whether you do it well or not well, doesn't matter. We're not judging it. We're just experiencing it. So you journal, you get through it, and little by little, the more that you journal, the more that you put your feelings, your thoughts, your hopes, your desires down on paper, that voice gets a little bit quieter every single time. So it's not going to go away. That's going to take some other kinds of work, but it's going to get quieter through journaling. But so the journal is for a couple of different reasons. It's going to help you clarify some things, help you have a clearer vision. It's also like, I just looked at a video, I just looked at a journal entry from like 2 years ago, and I was floored and disgusted and irate that it really went on and on about the struggle that I was having 2 years ago that I also just wrote about like last week in my journal. And I was like, are you joking? This thing has been going on for 2 years. Like, what? How could that be? So I just really sat myself down and said, all right, we're done. We're done messing with this. Like, it is time to clear this off, get it off my plate, whatever you need to do. Ignore it or conquer it or whatever, but this has to stop. So that's a really, really nice thing about having been someone who journals most of my life, is I can go back and look at journals from a long time ago and see where the progress has happened, where the growth has happened, and where I still stumble. That, I think, are the rules about journaling. So because I have been a lifelong journaler, I wasn't understanding how difficult it is for some of you. And some of you are really, really uncomfortable with this. And again, I think that's a good thing, but I want you to be able to do it. You can't be so uncomfortable that you can't do it. So in my experience, there are two kinds of people that don't like journaling. They're either the kinds of people who they open the book, they look at the blank page and are just paralyzed by fear, by doubt, by whatever, by that critic talking in the back of their heads. So for you people, I say, do this. Write yourself a list. Journaling whenever you're stuck. Making a list makes journaling easier. Makes almost everything easier, but especially journaling. So for you people, I say do this. Pick five ways that anxiety and depression or depression are showing up in your life. So for example, mine is like, I often have insomnia, although that's better. I am talking myself out of way too many things in my life because of my fear, because of anxiety. I have body pain. I get really tense and tight, and then I get headaches because of that. And so you get the idea. So write yourself a list. And then from that list, take one thing, take two things, take all 5 things, and write for a few moments about where you would like this issue to go in the next 6 weeks, and make it something really measurable. So let's say, hey, you know what? I only get like 2 nights of good sleep a week right now. I'd really like to increase that and make it 4 nights or 5 nights, or I want to kick in insomnia's butt. I want to be able to sleep really well more nights than not. So decide whatever you want that goal to be. It's completely up to you. And do that, write about what that looks like, write about what it feels like. What would happen if every night you slept great and every morning you woke up feeling energized and excited about life? Or okay, maybe excited is too much, but you felt energized, you felt like well rested and you had some energy. What does that look like for you? And then what does that allow you? If you have energy and your brain's not foggy and your body's not tired, like what can you get done in a day? What can you have in your life that you can't have anymore? So the other kind of person that has trouble journaling, and there's a couple of you in this group because you've told me already, is people who are afraid of opening the floodgates because they feel like once the gates are open, everything is going to come gushing out and they will not be able to close it. So for you, my suggestion is, I have a real concrete suggestion, but also I want you to think about the difference between thinking a lot and ruminating. And ruminating is more of that, it's more of that, why did I do this? What was I thinking? How could I have possibly believed, that I could or would or should or, it's also some of that coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like, oh, why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I say that? Why didn't I? It's that kind of stuff that goes nowhere, that goes round and round in circles. That is awful. That makes us feel like crap, and you want to get away from that. And it's hard. It's hard work, but we can do it. We're going to do it. We want to quiet that ruminating voice, because that's more of the tape shit in the back of our heads. That's the voice saying, who the fuck do you think you are? And then our response is, oh, the voice is right. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have, So the thinking a lot about stuff can be really positive. And if you've been pushing some of this down for a long time and you haven't been processing and you haven't been dealing with your emotions, your feelings, how you feel, body, mind, and spirit, there's a lot. There's a lot to process. And so I don't want you to get afraid of a lot, but let's break it down. Let's make it into really bite-sized pieces, really manageable parts. So what I suggest to you is you set a timer, and this can be for anyone, not just if you're afraid of the floodgates, but set a timer. And I mean set a timer. Don't say to yourself, I'm going to look at the clock. Set an actual timer, 10 minutes, and then just write pen to paper for 10 minutes and write for 10 minutes straight. Don't edit yourself. Don't pause. Just write. Write as much as you want. And here's another rule I forgot. It's not a rule, it's a guideline. Don't worry if you get off topic. Don't say, oh shit, I fucked up. I'm writing about, spending time with my grandkids last week. Who cares? If that's what you're supposed to write about today, that's what you're supposed to write about. And it's okay that you got off topic, because I promise you there's a reason you got off topic. I promise you there's something that is in that writing that you need to see. There's something you're avoiding about writing about that. And sometimes we need to kind of mentally vomit, get all the crap out, to be able to get to what's really important. And, I wish I could think of her name. Julia Cameron writes about this in The Way of the Artist. She suggests you do what's called morning papers, and you just write in the morning. You write for like 20 or 30 minutes, and it doesn't matter what you write about, you just write. And the whole idea is you're getting the garbage out of your brain. So then you can focus. For her, it's about focusing on being creative and letting that creative energy flow really freely. So that's what I think too. So if you're writing about something that doesn't matter, just keep doing it. It's okay. Maybe you just need to unload some stuff, and that's perfectly fine. And if you do that every day for 6 weeks, that's okay. There's no hard, fast rule. You're going to figure out what works for you over time, but you have to start this part, the messy, dirty, gross part first. And then it's going to get cleaner, and it's going to get easier, and it's going to get more manageable. So 10 minutes, set a timer. You set your phone timer, set a kitchen timer, set the timer on your oven, set a timer. Have your best friend call you in 10 minutes. When 10 minutes happens, close your journal. Don't finish your sentence unless it's really like you got a word to finish. Don't finish your thought unless it's like a word. Close your journal, walk away from it. Go do something enjoyable. Go do something that you love to do. Having said that, do something like go for a walk. Because it's really easy. It's a very, very easy pattern to get into, saying, I just journaled. I just did something really hard for me, and I think I should have some fried chicken and ice cream right now. Let's try and nip that in the bud before we even get into that pattern. Go do something, take a bubble bath. Go meet a friend for coffee. Go for a walk. Get a massage. Go paint your nails. Do something that's enjoyable for you, that's full of kindness and compassion towards you. And I think that's it for part 1. I'm going to go more deeply into some of this stuff in part 2. So BreatheOnline group, hold on. Let me really, really quickly tell everyone how Breathe has shifted and changed. So there's all these different ways to work with me now. This is a really, really new development. It's kind of a process that I'm working through now, which is how I like to teach. I like having you be part of my process. And that's what the next 6 weeks for BreatheOnline is going to be for us. It's a process. We're gonna try out things. We're going to see what works, what's really effective for you, what resonates with you in managing your anxiety, depression, and what doesn't. And some things, we're going to do something journaling. It's going to click and really work for like 7 or 8 of you. And then for the other like 9, you're like, I can take it or leave it. And then for like 2, it's going to be like, this is the best thing ever. Why haven't I been doing this? I love journaling. I want to journal on the bus. I want to journal at school. I want to journal at work. I want to journal all the time. That's how I felt about journaling. I fell in love with it. And you know, some people, I'm going to tell you guys to eat protein in the morning, and you know, 4 of you are going to be like, that's ridiculous, I feel awful. 12 of you are going to be like, oh, that's the best thing ever. Now my brain is completely different. So we're going to, you know, it's figuring it out, and it's really individualized. This is you figuring out your life. I'm just here to offer suggestions, give some guidelines. I'm not here to make you do anything. This is really about what you put into it. The more you put into this group, the more you get out. Having said that, the more you share, post, comment in the Facebook group, the more you're going to get out of that. Because the work, a lot of the healing happens when we come together as a group. Our strength, it's silly, but our strength is in numbers. The more energy there is in that group, the more you're going to take out, and you're going to get healing. So working with me. So there's tiers now. It took me a long time to figure this out. This is what my business coach generally suggests you do. I really resisted, not because I didn't like the idea, but just I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I finally got it. So Breathe e-course is a course that's finishing up right now. It will never be taught the way it is right now. Right now, it's a secret Facebook group. It's emails. It's a lot of back and forth with students, which is lovely, but it's not this format. It's not being served well. So Breathe e-course will, from now on, we're going to start August 15th. And from August 15th on, you can be part of Breathe e-course at any point. It's 7 emails in your email box. I write the emails ahead of time. They come to you with concepts and suggestions and exercises, and you do it at your own pace, and there's no feedback, no give and take. I mean, you're welcome to email me at any time, but not like these groups that I'm doing. So then the next group, I haven't figured out a name for this one, is a Facebook subscription group. And you pay, I haven't figured out the amount of money yet. That will start August 15th also, is I will introduce a concept probably through a video, and it will be on the Facebook page, and there will be exercises and suggestions. And then your participation in the Facebook group is whatever works for you, whatever you want. And we do it monthly. So, you know, maybe we get through 2 concepts in a month. Maybe we get through 4. It's completely dependent on the group there and how things are working and what you guys asked for. So that's starting, like I said, in August. I would like to start August 15th. I'm looking at a number around like $5 a month, but I haven't figured it out completely. It might be a little bit more. And that will be lots of interaction. There'll probably be an opportunity to connect with me personally on a monthly basis is included in your subscription fee. Then the next tier up would be one-on-one work. So I do a lot of one-on-one work with people, a lot of like sort of coaching. You can do that one-on-one with me face-to-face. And in that case, often we do some Ananda work, which is energy work that I do with people, energy, yoga poses, kind of talking about stuff. It can be just straight yoga practice, teaching you yoga poses to help you manage your anxiety and depression. And it can be some goal planning, some action planning, these are goals, or these are actions that seem to work really well for you. Let's put this all together in an action plan. Let's create that together. That's $55 an hour. If you want a little more intensive work that's sort of a rip the Band-Aid off kind of practice, there is Yoga for Anxiety and Depression. It is a workshop that I do. I'll teach it, I think in Salem, I'm teaching it in the next month or so. Well, 6 weeks or so. So if you're in the Salem, Boston area and you are interested in that, email me, mel@ayogikitchen.com, because I have a group that's good to go. It's just all of us figuring out our schedule. So I'll teach that fairly soon. I'm going to teach it in Lawrence, Kansas in October. Yeah, probably October, right around Halloween. And it is 4.5 hours of yoga poses, of learning the DBT skills, of journaling. You get my ebook, Anxiety to Ananda, free in that class. It's $95. You get connecting with other people in your community. I got to think more about that. You can go online to ayogikitchen.com and read more about that. And then right now, the top tier is doing BreatheOnline. It's $150 for 6 weeks. So you get really intense understanding of the concepts. You get practical. You get to go out do the work, come back and say, this is what worked for me and this is what really didn't work so well. And you get suggestions and you get feedback and you get lots of support, lots of community. You get a free session to work with me one-on-one to help create an action plan. You get the opportunity. I have office hours. You get office hours with me where you can call me. I think I did them. I can't remember what I did. I think I did 10 to 1 Eastern time last time. I think it was 10 to 1 Western, Central time last time. Anyway, there's like 3 or 4 hours every day that I'm available to talk on the phone where you can say, oh, I'm really struggling, tell me what to do right now. And I can say, do this DBT skill to help you manage this moment. Or just you want to do a check-in and want to like say, hey, this is what I'm trying. What do you think of this? It's really for whatever you want. And that's how you can work with me. So I'm really, really excited about this. This is a program I love. It has changed my life. If you are in the BreatheOnline group, more coming to you in a little bit. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to download the email or this video that I'm doing right now, and then you'll get it sometime either later tonight or first thing in the morning. So thank you all for your time and your energy and your loving kindness and your compassion and your support. I appreciate it. Again, working with you makes me better and better. It makes the anxiety and depression more manageable. It heals me. It's as big for me as it is for you guys. So thank you so much. Have a really great evening.